Chapter 1 of Nights with Uncle Remus. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This recording is by Mark Smith of Simpsonville, South Carolina. Nights with Uncle Remus by Joel Chandler Harris. Chapter 1, Mr. Fox and Miss Goose. It had been raining all day, so that Uncle Remus found it impossible to go out. The storm had begun, the old man declared, just as the chickens were crowing for day, and it had continued almost without intermission. The dark gray clouds had blotted out the sun, and the leafless limbs of the tall oaks surrendered themselves drearily to the fantastic gusts that drove the drizzle fitfully before them. The lady to whom Uncle Remus belonged had been thoughtful of the old man, and Tildy, the house-girl, had been commissioned to carry him his meals. This arrangement came to the knowledge of the little boy at supper time, and he lost no time in obtaining permission to accompany Tildy. Uncle Remus made a great demonstration over the thoughtful kindness of his Miss Sally. "If she ain't one blessed white woman," he said, in his simple, fervent way, "den dey ain't none of 'em round in dese parts." With that he addressed himself to the supper, while the little boy sat by and eyed him with that familiar curiosity common to children. Finally the youngster disturbed the old man with an inquiry. "Uncle Remus, do geese stand on one leg all night, or do they sit down to sleep?" "To be sure dey does, honey. Dey sets down same as you does. Course, dey don't cross der legs," he added cautiously, "'cause dey sets down right flat-footed." "Well, I saw one the other day, and he was standing on one foot, and I watched him, and he kept on standing there." "Ez ter that," responded Uncle Remus, "dey might stan' on one foot en drap off to sleep en fergit deyse'f. Deze yer gooses," he continued, wiping the crumbs from his beard with his coat tail, "is mighty koose fowls. Dey's mighty koose. In ole times dey wuz 'mongs de big bugs, en in dem days, w'en ole Miss Goose gun a dinin', all de quality wuz dar. Likewise, en needer wuz dey stuck up, 'kaze wid all der carryins on, Miss Goose wa'n't no proud fer ter take in washin' fer de neighborhoods, so she make money en get slick en fat like Sis Tempy. Dis de way marters stan' w'en one day Brer Fox en Brer Rabbit, dey wuz settin' up at de cotton patch, one on one side de fence en t'other one on t'other side, gwine on wid one n'er, w'en fus' news dey know, dey year sump'n' blim, blim, blim. Brer Fox, he ax w'at dat fuss is, en Brer Rabbit, he up'n 'spon' dat it's ole Miss Goose down at de spring. Den Brer Fox, he up'n ax w'at she doin', en Brer Rabbit, he say, sezee, dat she's battlin' cloze." "Battling clothes, Uncle Remus?" said the little boy. "Dat w'at dey call it dem days, honey. Deze times dey rubs cloze on deze yer boards w'at got furrers in um, but dem days dey des tuck de cloze en lay um out on de bench, en ketch hold er de battlin' stick en nat'ally paddle de fillin' out'n um. W'en Brer Fox year dat ole Miss Goose wuz down dar dabblin' in soap suds en washin' cloze, he sorter lick his chops, en 'low dat some er deze odd come shorts he gwine call en pay his specks. De minnit he say dat, Brer Rabbit, he know sump'n' 'uz up, en he 'low ter hisse'f dat he speck he better whirl in en have some fun w'iles it's gwine on. Bimeby Brer Fox up'n say to Brer Rabbit dat he bleedst to be movin' 'long todes home, en wid dat dey bofe say good bye. Brer Fox, he put on ter whar his fambly wuz, but Brer Rabbit, he slip 'roun', he did, en call on ole Miss Goose. Ole Miss Goose, she wuz down at de spring, washin' en bilin' en battlin' cloze, but Brer Rabbit he march up en ax 'er howdy, en den she tuck'n ax Brer Rabbit howdy. "I'd shake hands 'long with you, Brer Rabbit,' says she, 'but dey are all full of suds,' says she. "'No matter 'bout dat, Miss Goose,' says Brer Rabbit, says he, 'so long as yo' will's good,' says he. "'A goose with hands, Uncle Remus!' the little boy exclaimed. "'How you know Goose ain't got hands?' Uncle Remus inquired, with a frown. "Is you been sleepin' longer ole man Know All? Little mo' en you'll up en stan' me down dat snakes ain't got no foots, en yit you take en lay a snake down yer 'fo' de fier, en his foots'll come out right 'fo' yo' eyes." Uncle Remus paused here, but presently continued: "Atter ole Miss Goose en Brer Rabbit done pass de time er day wid one anudder, Brer Rabbit, he ax 'er, he did, how she come on deze days, en Miss Goose say, mighty po'ly: "'I'm gittin' stiff en I'm gittin' clumpsy,' says she, 'en mo'n dat I'm gittin' bline,' says she. 'Des 'fo' you happen 'long, Brer Rabbit, I drap my specks in de tub yer, en ef you'd 'a' come 'long 'bout dat time,' says ole Miss Goose, says she, 'I lay I'd tuck you for dat nasty, owdacious Brer Fox, en it'd 'a' bin a born blessin' ef I hadn't 'a' scald you wid der pan er bilin' suds,' says she. 'I'm dat glad I foun' my specks, I dunner w'at to do,' says ole Miss Goose, says she. Den Brer Rabbit, he up en say dat bein's how Sis Goose done fotch up Brer Fox name, he got sump'n' fer ter tell 'er. Then he let out 'bout Brer Fox gwine ter call on 'er. "'He comin',' says Brer Rabbit, says he. 'He comin' sho', en w'en he come hit'll be des 'fo' day,' says he. "Wid dat, ole Miss Goose wipe 'er han's on 'er apun, en put 'er specks up on 'er forrerd, en look lak she done got trouble in 'er min'. "'Laws a massy!' says she, 'spozen he come, Brer Rabbit, w'at I gwine do? En dey ain't a man 'bout de house needer,' says she. Den Brer Rabbit, he shot one eye, en he says, he, 'Sis Goose, de time done come w'en you bleedz ter roos' high. You look lak you got de dropsy,' says he. 'But I don't min' dat, 'kaze ef you don't roos' high, you're a goner,' says he. Den ole Miss Goose ax Brer Rabbit w'at she gwine do, en Brer Rabbit he up en tell Miss Goose dat she mus' go home en tie up a bundle er de w'ite folks cloze en put um on de bed, en den she mus' fly up on a rafter en let Brer Fox grab de cloze en run off wid um. Ole Miss Goose say she much 'bliged, en she tuck'n tuck 'er things en waddle off home, en dat night she do lak Brer Rabbit say wid de bundle er cloze, en den she sont word ter Mr. Dog. Mr. Dog he come down en say he'd sorter set up wid 'er. Des 'fo' day, yer come Brer Fox creepin' up, en he went en push on de do' easy, en de do' open, en he see sump'n' w'ite on de bed w'ich he took fer Miss Goose, en he grab it en run. 'Bout dat time Mr. Dog sail out fum under de house, he did, en ef Brer Fox hadn't 'a' drap de cloze, he'd 'a' got kotched. Fum dat, word went 'roun' dat Brer Fox bin tryin' ter steal Miss Goose's cloze, en he come mighty nigh losin' his stannin' at Miss Meadows. Down ter dis day," Uncle Remus continued, preparing to fill his pipe, "Brer Fox b'leeve dat Brer Rabbit wuz de 'casion er Mr. Dog bein' in de neighborhoods at dat time er night, en Brer Rabbit ain't 'spute it. De bad feelin' 'twix' Brer Fox en Mr. Dog start right dar, en hit's bin a gwine on twel now dey ain't gittin' in smellin' distance er one another widout dey's a row." End of chapter 1.